Welcome to Industrial Organizational Psychology. And for this lesson, this will be lesson number 6. Employee selection, references, and testing. Okay. So in chapter 3, you learn that many laws and regulations affect employee selection methods, right? But for this, in chapter 5 and 6, you will learn about the ways in which to recruit and select employees. In this chapter, you will learn how to evaluate whether a particular selection method is useful and how to use test scores to make a hiring decision. Throughout this chapter, you will encounter the word test. Okay? So, overview, we're going to talk about the characteristic of effective selection, such as reliability, validity, and cost efficiency. All right? Establishing the usefulness of a selection device, the Taylor-Russell tables, proportion of correct decision, Lush tables, Blodgett-Cronbach-Glasser, utility formula, determining the fairness of test, adverse impact, single group validity, differential validity, making the hiring decision, an adjusted top-down selection, the rule of three, passing scores, banding, all right? And this is the selection goals and objective. It's understand how to determine the reliability of the test and the factors that affect test reliability. Understand the 5 ways to validate a test. Learn how to find information about test. Understand how to determine validity, determine utility of selection test, and the likes, and so on. Okay? So topic 1, characteristics of selection techniques. So effective selection techniques have 4 characteristics. They must be reliable, valid, cost efficient, and legally dispensable. Okay? So we already know that one in psych assessment that the test must be valid and reliable. Okay? But for this, we need to consider also if it is cost efficient and legally defensible. Reliability. What is reliability? It's just a review to your psych assessment. Reliability is the extent to which scores from a selection measure is stable and free from error. If a score from a measure is not stable or error-free, it is not useful. What does it mean? Meaning, manimbawa meron kang kinuwang ruler. Yung ruler na yun, or gusto mo gumawa ng isang doghouse. Okay? So, dapat, kung ano ang measure mo ngayon, gamit ang ruler na yun, is the same, equal, ng i-measure mo bukas at saka sa mga susunod na araw using that ruler sa paggawa ng doghouse. Ibig sabihin, kung i-apply natin to in industrial organizational psychology, dapat ang test na gagamitin mo ay sa selection method ay kahit na ibinigay mo siya sa iba't ibang tao, okay, dapat yun ay reliable. Meaning kasi, hindi dapat nagbabago. Okay? So therefore, reliability is an essential characteristic of an effective measure. Test reliability is determined in 4 ways. Okay? So, may 4 na paraan para ma-determine natin kung ang isang test ay reliable. This is the test 3 test, reliability, alternate forms, reliability, internal reliability, and scorer reliability. So, ulitin natin. Halimbawa, kung nagpasok ka ng test sa isang organization, dapat itong test na to ay sakto sa iba't ibang klase ng employee within that organization. Iisa sila ng sinusukat. Hindi pwedeng iba't iba. Alright? So, test reliability, as I mentioned earlier, Test retest reliability method. Each of the several people take the same test twice. The scores from the first administration of the test are correlated with the scores from the second to determine whether they are similar. Alright. Paano ang test retest reliability? Ito yung test na kung saan ang tao ay magkukuha ng test ng 2 beses. Alright? I-administer mo to sa maraming tao, tapos if nakuha mo na similar ang test score from previous test, ibig sabihin meron itong temporal stability. Halimbawa, kunwari, nagpa-test ka ngayong araw na to. It's 2020. Pag pinatest mo ulit yan, dapat makakuha ka ng same score. Hindi pwede na nagpa-test, retest ka, tapos pinatest mo siya after 3 years. Siyempre, wala ng temporal stability yon kasi nga, nagbago na yung panahon at maaaring nakaapekto ito doon sa knowledge ng test taker. Okay, so that is the test retest reliability. Ibig sabihin, the same score from the previous score from the same test taker must be the same score with the same test taker kapag pinaulit mo po siya. We have alternate forms reliability. Okay? We have counterbalancing and form stability. What does it mean? It says that sa alternate forms reliability, meron kang 2 form. Pasimplihin natin, halimbawa, ang isang police officer, gusto mo siyang i-promote. Okay? So, meron siyang qualification na kailangan siyang, or pasok siya doon sa qualifications na ka-promote siya. So, ang gagawin mo, magkakanda ka ngayon ng isang, it might be test. Okay? Kung ready na ba talaga tong police officer na to na ma-promote. Meron yung tinatawag na Form A and Form B. 2 sets to. It might be yung Form A, same lang din ng information or ng test question na nakalagay sa Form B. However, ang pinagkaiba nila is nakashuffle yun. Pwedeng ganon. Nakashuffle ang Form B. Okay, halimbawa, nagbigay ka ng Form A. Binigay mo ngayon si Form A. Bumagsak ngayon si police officer. So, after 1 year, pwedeng ulit siya mag-take ng test. Ngayon, para maiwasan ang familiarization sa test, ibibigay mo ngayon si Form B, which is nakashuffle siya. Tapos, kapag bumagsak ulit si police officer, ang mangyayari doon is hindi mo siya kukunin. Ibig sabihin, may relationship yung 2 form na yon, si Form A at Form B, na kapag bumagsak siya dito with the same content, i-correlate mo ngayon na hindi talaga siya kailangan i-promote. Kapag may relationship sila at ibig sabihin, halimbawa ay bumagsak si police officer sa Form A, and then after a year, nag-take siya ng exam, ibibigay mo ngayon si Form B, kapag kung ano may yung result na makuha doon, is yun yung tinatawag na form stability. Okay? Meaning, correlated yung result nila. Kahit na similar yung test. Okay? Similar in a sense na all the context or all the information that has with the form ay same with the Form A. Okay? Halimbawa, si Form B, ang pinagkaiba niya na kay Form A, si Form B naka-shuffle, si A hindi. Okay, you may ask me during synchronous for you to understand if you have still have a confusion regarding on that one. Okay? Or, yeah, test takers could answer a test if one is not passed to lessen familiarity with a different time frame. Okay, pwedeng 1 year, pwedeng 6 months. Pero, according sa study, okay daw na ina-advise dito na pwedeng 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Okay? So, ganun daw yung pagbigay ng alternate forms reliability. Okay? Alternate forms para makita mo yung reliability niya. Okay? Next is internal reliability. Third way to determine the reliability of a test or inventory is to look at the consistency with which an applicant responds to items measuring a similar dimension or construct. Example would be personality trait, ability, area of knowledge. The extent to which similar items are answered in similar ways is referred to as internal consistency and measures of item stability. So, how does it work? Sinasabi lang dito na sa internal reliability na ang isang item or sa isang test ay iisa sila na sinusukat. Ibig sabihin is reliable yung isang test na yon. Okay? Halimbawa, personality test. Okay? Personality trait, ability, area of knowledge. This kind of example na nandito ay iisa sila ng topic of test. Okay? So, that is internal reliability. Hindi ka pwedeng maglagay ng isang factor na nandoon sa test na kung saan taliwas siya dun sa gusto mong sukatin. If that is the case na kunwari, nag-take ka ng isang personality test at saka lahat yun ay consistent, dun papasok yung item stability. Okay, yung kung saan ay itong test na to ay para doon lang. Kung personality trait siya, personality trait lang. Kung which specific area of knowledge siya, doon lang siya. Okay? Yun yung internal reliability, kung gaano ka reliable yung isang test. Next, item homogeneity. Another factor that can affect the internal reliability of a test, that is, do all the items measure the same thing or do they measure different construct? Okay? So, sa item homogeneity, sinasabi dito na another factor daw para masukat mo ang internal validity of the test is itong item homogeneity. Okay? So, lahat ba ng sakop ng test na yun ay para doon? Sinasabi din na the more test question, the more internal homogeneity. Okay? Or the more internal consistency. Halimbawa, sa isang test, kung may mas madaming items yan, okay? Halimbawa, nagpa-exam ako ng chapters 1 to 3. Okay? Kung chapters 1 to 3 yan, is dapat, ang makikita lang sa test ay yung chapters 1 to 3 lang na yon. Okay? Hindi ka dapat maghalo ng ibang chapter. Okay? Disregard with this to illustrate this concept. Okay? Final exam. Kasi sa final exam, minsan composed siya ng maraming chapters, di ba? Okay? Kung yung final exam na yun ay 3 chapters na ibibigay mo dun sa isang tao, example nito is in a school setting, dapat yung items lang na yun, na kung ano yung tinapik mo is yun yung na-discuss ng isang instructor. So, ganun yung item homogeneity. Dapat lahat ng, para matest natin internal consistency, sasabi lang dito na the more, kapag mas madami ang item, mas higher ang internal consistency. Okay? So, bakit? Halimbawa, 1 to 100 items yan. Kung 1 to 100 items yan, tapos yung mismong exam ay composed of 3 chapters, okay? Hindi, kung magkamali ka man ng isa, hindi ganun kalaki ang impact na mababawas doon sa chapter na yon. Halimbawa, sa isang exam may may tatlong chapters tulad nga sinasabi natin or tulad nga sinasabi ko, ay dapat kung yung chapter 1, halimbawa, chapter 1 lang doon is 2 items lang ang kinuha ko. Okay? Or kumuha ako ng dalawang question lang sa chapters 1 to 3. Kaya sa chapter 1, dalawang question lang ang kinuha ko doon. Okay? Tapos yun yung pinatest ko. Wala siyang item homogeneity. Dapat kasi um, equal to, number 1. Number 2, dapat kung 3 chapters yun, dapat equal separation of test question. Tapos, dapat din ay para maiwasan natin ang pagkakaroon ng not a discrimination, kundi para maiwasan natin or maging equal or balance yung isang test. Okay? Next is split half method. We already know that one. It is the easiest to use as item on a test. Are split into two groups. Usually, all of the odd numbered items are grouped. The scores on the two groups of items are then correlated. Because the number of items in the test has been reduced, researchers have to use the formula called Spearman-Brown prophecy to adjust the correlation. Okay? Okay, sa split half, hatiin mo lang yung test na yun. Pagkatapos, pag hinati mo yung test na yun, i-administer mo siya. Pag in-administer mo siya, ang formula usual ginagamit dito is the Spearman-Brown proficiency or correlation. I-correlate mo ngayon yung dalawang ni-split mo. Okay, so same with the assessment na tinuro sa inyo sa test assessment. Next would be Cronbach alpha, coefficient alpha are more popular and accurate methods to determine internal reliability, although they are more complicated to use and thus are calculated by computer program rather than by hand. Okay? Mas easy si Cronbach alpha by using SPSS, by using Excel. Alright? At least 0.70 ang Cronbach alpha. Okay? Para makita natin if kailangan, if mataas yung Cronbach alpha niya, mataas yung reliability niya. Kapag bumaba yan, ng 0.7, ibig sabihin below siya. Ang kailangan mo gawin is to retest mo ulit or conduct mo ulit yung mga procedure sa pagkuha ng or administer mo ulit yung test. Baka sakali kasi na may kailangan kang baguhin doon sa test construction. Kapag naman sobrang taas yan, okay, ibig sabihin 0.80, 85, 90, baka yung mga test items na yon ay paulit-ulit lang sa sinusukat mo. Okay? So, ganun yung conflicting or in regards dun sa Cronbach alpha. Hindi, anong ideal Cronbach alpha? It's nag-range sa 0.7 to 0.80. Okay, ideal na yon according to research. Next will be scorer reliability. Scorer reliability, paano ito is a fourth way of assessing reliability is scorer reliability. A test or inventory can have homogeneous item and yield heterogeneous scores and still not be reliable. If the person scoring the test makes mistakes, scorer reliability is an issue in projective or subjective tests in which there is no one correct answer, but even tests scored with the use of keys suffer from scorer mistakes. Okay? So, with this score reliability, it says, yung mismo nag-score, kailangan ay kilala niya mismo yung ini-scorean niya. Okay? Halimbawa, would be dapat matagal na niyang kakilala in many different situation. Okay? Tapos, i-scorean niya kung paano yung attitude ng isang employee while conducting maybe the test. Okay? And sa score reliability, napasok dito yung inter-rater reliability. Okay, so sa inter-rater reliability, kung yung nag-score ba, as what I'm saying earlier, ay reliable para to score or to give an analysis within that with that test. Okay? Sabi din dito, do the two raters have the same score? Ibig sabihin, may inter-rater person ka nagkakandak ng isang test. Si admin A and admin B. Okay? O si person A, si person B. Sila ba ay equal yung nakuha nilang score while conducting that kind of test sa employee? Halimbawa, nagpa-test ka sa employee, okay, sa internal consistency, ay parehas ba sila ng score na nakuha dun sa employee? Okay, so that is an issue in regards to internal validity also. Next, evaluating the reliability of a test. Evaluating reliability of the test. To evaluate the coefficient, you can compare it with the reliability coefficients typically obtained for similar type of test. Sa evaluating the reliability of a test, marami factors na kailangan i-consider. Halimbawa, yung ano yung data na nakuha or ano yung manual na sinasabi dun sa test. Kailangan alam mo kung paano siya i-evaluate, ano ba yung sinasabi dun sa manual. Second would be para kanino ba yung test na yun. Halimbawa, kung ang test na kunyari, ang test na yun ay para sa student, tapos kinandak mo siya para sa mga managerial position. Tama ba na ang test na yun ay kandak mo dun sa mga managerial position compared dun sa student, kumpara lang yung test na yun sa student? Okay, ganun siya. Next is the validity. Validity, alam na natin to, is the degree to which an inferences from scores on tests or assessments are justified by the evidence. As with reliability, a test must be valid to be useful. Okay? But just because a test is reliable, does not mean it is valid. Hindi porket na reliable ang test, ay valid na ito gamitin. So, alam na natin yan sa psych assessment also and test dev. Okay? Content validity, the extent to which the test items sample are content that they are supposed to measure or it purports to measure. Okay, so ano ba yung, para saan ba yun? Okay, yung isang test na yun. Para dito sa content validity, kung ang items ay tama ba sa gusto mong sukatin, halimbawa kung resilience ba ang sinusukat mo doon or employee resilience ay para ba't sa ang question mga nandoon ay akma sa resiliency? Okay, so ganun si content validity. Next is criterion validity, which refers to the extent to which a test score is related to some measure of job performance called criterion. Okay? Criterion validity is established using one of two research design, concurrent and predictive. Okay? So, itong si criterion validity, may dalawang klase ito. Merong si concurrent at saka si predictive. Unahin natin si predictive. Para dito, ito yung kakayahan ng isang test na ma-predict ang future behavior ng isang tao or future task ng isang tao. Halimbawa, huwag natin ilayo, entrance exam. Okay? Kailangan mataas ang correlation kung ang mga pumasa sa entrance exam, halimbawa, ay matataas. Okay? Halimbawa, 1 to 10 ang ranging, nakakuha ka ng 9. Ine-expect mo kay predictive validity na itong mga nakakuha ng 9 na to ay mataas din ang jiwa nila in future. Okay? Dapat lahat na nakakuha ng mataas ang grade sa entrance exam ay nakakuha ng mataas na jiwa pag-graduate nila. Okay? Paano kapag hindi sumakto? Pag hindi sumakto, ibig sabihin, yung predictive validity nito ay mababa or hindi akma. Okay? So, gano'n po siya. Halimbawa, kay employee. Kung si employee ay ang performance na gusto niyang sukatin or gusto mong sukatin ay willingness sa isang trabaho. Sa predict, lahat ng mga criteria na nandun sa test ay regarding dun sa gusto mong sukatin, which is willingness. Inaasahan na ang criterion validity netong test na to ay sa predictive validity niya, makikita doon na itong test na to is akma doon sa future behavior ng tao. Okay? So, kapag hindi nagtama, ibig sabihin hindi magandang predictor ito. Okay? Yung test na ginawa mo or yung test na in-administer mo para doon sa employee or just like the entrance exam with sa college. Okay? We have concurrent validity. Concurrent validity, tinatawag din itong concurrent related evidence. Halimbawa, gumawa ka ng performance evaluation ng sales employee. Pwede mo siya ibangga sa actual sales na nagagawa ng employee pwede mo siya i-correlate. Okay? Next is concurrent validity. Ano ito ngayon si concurrent validity? Concurrent validity is correlating test sa same construct. Example, ay gumawa ako ng isang test regarding sexual harassment trauma scale. Paano ko masasabi na yung na-develop ko ay trauma talaga ang sinusukat? Okay? So, i-correlate ko siya sa standardized na pwedeng pinagkuhanan ko ay post-traumatic stress scale dahil pareho siya ng construct ng pinagkuhanan. Tapos makikita mo doon na kung mataas ang correlation, pwede mo na sabihin na tama ang construct na nagawa. Whereas sa meron tayong tinatawag na discriminant validity. Okay, sa discriminant validity, kailangan ay taliwas doon sa gusto mong kinukuha. Okay, so naghalo ako ng wala dito sa slide, sorry. Okay, so si concurrent validity kasi at saka si discriminant validity ay lagi yung magkabangga dalawa. Alright? Halimbawa, ay kung gumawa ka ng isang test, tapos ang test na yon ay motivation of an employee. Okay? So, yung motivation of employee na yon ay pinagkuhanan ng test ay pwedeng personality traits. Okay? Pwede mo ngayon ibangga ang personality traits doon sa motivation mo. Okay? So, that is the concurrent validity. Kailangan may relationship yung dalawang pinag-ugutan mo since na isa lang naman sila ng pinagkukuhanan. Alright. Next, predictive validity. Nasabi na natin to kanina. But, let us repeat. Sa predictive validity, kailangan, halimbawa, nag-test si employee. Ang test niya is yung job iisip tayo ng variable. Halimbawa ay motivation ulit. Okay? So, nag-conduct ka ng isang test, tiningnan mo ang predictive validity, kailangan, with that, kunyari, gaano ba ka-satisfy ang isang employee kapag pumasok siya dun sa company? Halimbawa, may ganun kang scale na gusto mong makita while upon hiring. Kailangan, habang nandoon si employee or i-compare mo ngayon kung yung willingness ng employee is bangga dun sa test. Kapag hindi siya nagbangga, tulad nga sinabi ko, ibig sabihin, yung test na in-administer mo upon hiring is not great predictor para dun kay employee. Alright? Next, validity generalization or VG, the extent to which a test found valid for a job in one location is valid for the same job in a different location. Sa validity generalization, sinasabi lang dito na kailangan daw ang yung test ba na yun ay para lang sa specific na job na yun. Halimbawa, ang BPO, hindi siya pwede sa mga rank and file, kunya admin assistant. Okay? Or valid ba itong test na to dun sa company na pinagkuhanan mo? Or sa company na pinagkandakan mo? Tama ba na ilalagay mo siya sa different kind setup ng company? Or different job design? Okay? Kailangan, maaring sa validity generalization is titingnan dito kung akma ba yung isang test na gamitin kung dun siya nanggaling sa ibang type of job. Okay? Titingnan mo din yung predictive validity niya. Construct validity. Sa construct validity, okay, is the most theoretical of the validity types. Basically, it defines the extent to which a test actually measures the construct that it purports to measure. Okay, simple as kung ano ba yung concept or sang theory mo ba siya kinuha or basically yun lang yun. So kung anong concept nung test na yun. Pero naalala natin sa test psych assessment na merong pagtatawag ng convergent, okay, at saka convergent. Okay? Yung tinitingnan dito yung sa convergent, kung paano ko masasabi kung ang mini-measure ko talaga ay akma doon sa nakuha ko. Okay, so babalik ako doon sa theory na kung saan or ano yung concept ng pinagkuhanan ko. Okay, so lahat ng concept na yun is in line dito sa construct validity. We have face validity. Face validity is the extent to which a test appears to be job related. Okay, simple lang itong face validity. It is a lowest form of validity. Physical attributes like yung font style, font size, yung color na gagamitin or the color, font color, okay, yung kulay ng paper, okay, and yung instruction kung paano siya i-administer. Yun lang siya, say face validity. Tapos, we have Barnum statements or Barnum effect, the tendency of people to accept generalized personality description of their own unique personality. Okay? So, dito muna kay face validity, hindi porket sinabi na okay ang face validity niya, ay valid na yung test na yon. Okay? Kaya tayo merong Barnum statement, halimbawa, dun sa isang test, yung isang question doon ay nakalagay, merong construct na sometimes I feel sad. Sometimes I feel successful. Okay? Yung word na sometimes na yon ay tinatawag na Barnum statement na kung saan yung unique personality ng tao na yun ay nag-generalize sa lahat. Okay? So, meaning to say, yung face validity of the test na ganun ay hindi mo siya pwedeng i-generalize sa or hindi mo siya pwedeng face validity lang yung kukunin mo kasi yung face validity ay may Barnum effect na kung saan nga yung specific question na yon ay hindi para dun sa um, specific na employee na gusto mong kunin or specific participants na gusto mong kunin. Okay? Para siya sa lahat. Alright? Next, Barnum effect. Tendency of people accept generalized personality description of their own unique personality or matching personality. Okay? Ito yung test question to, part ng face validity na kung saan yung test question ay pwede sa lahat. Okay? Hindi siya specific doon sa mismong participants or employee. Okay? Na gusto mong sukatin. Kaya hindi din akma na sa mm, tumingin ka lang sa face validity ng isang test. Okay? Dahil nga sa Barnum effect na tinatawag na pwedeng itong test na to ay example may sometimes I feel sad, sometimes I feel successful, sometimes I feel lonely, which is everybody experiencing that one. Okay, that is the Barnum effect. Barnum's statement also, you pride yourself as an independent thinker and you do not accept other statement without satisfactory proof. All right. Okay, topic number 2. Establishing the usefulness of selection device. We have Taylor-Russell tables, okay, are designed to estimate a percentage of future employees who will be successful on the job if an organization uses a particular test. To use the Taylor-Russell tables, three pieces of information must be obtained. Alright, so for that, balik tayo sa kanila. Halimbawa, dun sa dito, sorry, sa after ng Barnum statements, dapat yung consider natin yung cost efficient, okay? Or yung kung magkan efficiency, cost efficiency ng isang test. Alam naman natin na mahal ang isang test. If ever na may dalawang test ka na i-administer sa isang applicant or participants or kung kanino man, dapat tinitingnan natin if kung parehas sila ng sinusukat, tinitingnan natin kung gaano yung loss ng company sa pagbili ng isang test na yon. Okay? Para makita din natin kung kasi titingnan din natin dito yung in a sense na gagastos ba na malaking pera si company para makapag-provide siya ng test para dun sa employee? Okay. Okay, so balik tayo dito sa Taylor Russell. Taylor Russell, yung nga sa sinabi kanina, okay, to use Taylor Russell tables, three pieces of information must be obtained. Okay, ano ba tong Taylor Russell na to? Number one, information needed is the test criterion validity coefficient. The higher the validity coefficient, the greater the possibility the test will be useful. Okay? So, napasok Taylor-Russell tables, isa lang tong parang titingnan mo yung mga coefficient nila ng isang test. Okay? Sasabi dito, the higher the validity coefficient, the greater the possibility the test will be useful. Number one. Number two, selection ratio, which is simply the percentage of people an organization must hire. The ratio is determined by the formula. Okay, so selection ratio is equal to number of hired over number of applications. Okay, so madali lang to. Sa selection ratio, ito yung kung gaano ba kadami yung applicant dapat na makuha natin over sa number applications na nakuha natin. Okay, kasama siya sa Taylor-Russell tables. Sinasabi lang dito na kung yung number of applicants or yung number of hired, halimbawa 1 to 100, ang number of applicants mo or application mo is um, 100 applicants over yung ilan yung na-hired mo doon. Ibig sabihin, yun yung selection ratio mo. So, next time na magkukuha ka ng applicant, ay dapat ay ganito yung amount. Okay? Kasi ito lang yung mga successful applicants na nakakatuloy doon sa type of interview and training kung meron man sa isang company. Ulitin natin. So, number of applications, halimbawa may nag-apply na 100 na applicants. Okay? Ilan sa 100 na yon ang matatanggap? Okay, halimbawa, 1. So, ang selection ratio mo, 1 is to 100. Ibig sabihin, sa next time, if you will be the recruiter of the company, meron ka na nakaset na mind mo na gaano ba kadami ang applicant na kailangan kong makuha para magkaroon ako ng successful applicants. Okay, so nakalagay din ito doon sa Taylor-Russell tables. Yung unang sinabi natin is that yung the higher the validity coefficient, the greater the possibility the test will be useful. Okay? So, and and ulitin natin na itong Taylor-Russell table ay dinesign to para makita natin kung ilan yung mga future employee na maging successful dun sa job. Okay? But to make this one simple, halimbawa, isa kang recruitment ng isang BPO company at kailangan mo makapag-hire ng mga applicants, gaano ba kadami ang applicants na kailangan mo makuha? Ilan doon yung magiging successful applicants? That is the ratio na kung saan ito yung kailangan mo makuha. Halimbawa, as what I'm saying earlier, 100 na applicants, tapos ang naging successful lang doon ay isa. Ibig sabihin, 1 over 100. Kailangan makakuha ng applicant para makakuha ka ng isang 100 applications para makakuha ka ng isang successful applicant. Okay? And next, base rate. Sa base rate, of current performance, the percentage of employees currently on the job who are considered successful. These figures usually obtained in two ways. The first method is the most simple but least accurate. Employees are split into two equal groups, okay, based on their scores of some criterion such as tenure or performance. The base rate using this method is always, 0.15 because one half of the employees are considered satisfactory. Okay? Halimbawa, sa base rate mo dito ay sinasabi na sa 100 na applicant, okay, 50 doon yung nagiging successful na ma-hire mo. Okay? So, ganun siya. Ano ba yung base rate ng applicant na kailangan mo makuha? Okay? Taylor-Russell tables, isa lang tong table na kung saan tinitingnan kung yung coefficient value, correlation, number of applicants, okay, na kailangan mong makuha. Alright. Next would be the second and more meaningful method is to choose a criterion measure score above which all employees are considered successful. Example will be the more sales means more successful and less sale is unsuccessful. Alright. In this example, there is a clear point at which an employee can be considered as success. Most of the time, however, there are no such clear points. In these cases, managers will subjectively choose a point to the criterion that they feel separates successful and unsuccessful employees. Okay? So, as what I'm saying earlier, ang sa Taylor-Russell tables, meron tayong also base rate, gaano kadami or yung applicant na kailangan mo, half ba nun? Or sasabi dito na yung 50% ba nun ng out of 100 ay maging successful. Okay? Dito naman sa ratio, sinasabi dito na gaano kadaming applicant ang kailangan mong or gaano kadaming applicant ang kailangan mo para makapagkuha ka ng mga successful applicant or hired applicants. Okay? Alright. Next, proportion of correct decisions is clear. Decision is clear. Decision is easier, to do but less accurate than the Taylor-Russell tables. Okay? The first method is the most simple but the least accurate. Okay? sabi natin kanina, kasi Taylor-Russell tables kasi ay lahat dito ay nakadata ka. Okay? Lahat dito, lahat ng coefficient, lahat ng number of applicants, lahat ng um, applications is nandoon din, compute mo lahat yun. Kaya may math dito. Okay? Mostly ginagamit ito sa um, selection ng recruitment or the selection of applicants. Okay, the first method is most simple but the least accurate. Employees are split into two equal groups based on their scores on the sum criterion such as tenure or performance. Okay? So, hatiin mo yung dalawang employee based dun sa seniority nila. Halimbawa, si employee tenured sa kanila ay 5 years. Okay? Okay, yung hatiin mo yung the, meron kang employee na tenured na 10, hatiin mo yun sa dalawang grupo, Group A and Group B. Tapos titingnan mo lang doon kung sa grupo na to, kung sinong grupo ang mas taas ang performance nila. Okay? So, ganun siya. Next is, sabi kanina na may dalawang criteria ka para makita ang proportion or ng correct decision ng employee or makita kung si employee ba ay nakakapag-perform ng maayos. Okay? Yun yung number one. Kung hatiin mo si grupo or si employee, may 10 employee ka, hatiin mo sa dalawa, 5 and 5, tapos titingnan mo kung yung performance level nila is sinong grupo ang mas angat ang performance. Pangalawa, the second and more meaningful method is to choose a criterion measure. Score above which also employees are considered successful. Okay? Hindi natin to elaborate kasi kailangan dito ng graph. Pero ang sasabi nilang dito sa proportion of correct na pagkuha ng or the second method para makuha ang proportion ng correct decision mo kay employee kung sino sa kanila ang mas nag-perform na maayos ay through the score over yung criterion score and the test score. If yung criteria ba na hinahanap dun sa isang test is akma dun sa test score or ilan yung test score nila per criterion ng isang test. Okay, ulitin natin. Ilan ang test score nila per at yung criterion score nila ng isang test. Halimbawa, kung ang isang test na yon ay sasabi na may productivity, willingness, motivation, and then, okay, meron tayong tatlong quadrant lang, productivity, willingness, and motivation. Titingnan doon yung test score, and then yung criteria na yun, ipa-plot mo lang siya. Okay? Next is Lashay table. Sorry. Lashay table ang basa dyan. Okay, so Lashay table, German kasi siya. Yung Lashay or Lash table. Okay? Sasabi lang dito na with this kind of table, kailangan natin ma-determine na kung ilan but we often need to know the probability that a particular applicant will be successful. Okay, kung yung aplikante ba nakuha natin is maging successful, so compare natin yung data na yon. Okay, so yun lang siya. Hindi natin siya elaborate masyado kasi we need to compute math together with the Taylor-Russell tables. Okay, sa Taylor-Russell tables, gusto natin makita kung ilan dun yung nagpa-perf sa employees na na-hire mo, ilan dun yung mga naging successful, ilan dapat yung kukunin mo next time. Okay, so ganun siya. So same with the Lash table. Okay, this is the example of the table. Okay? So, ilan yung top performer, ilan yung tenured, and the likes. Okay? But we're not going to talk about that more kasi we need to do math for Jan. We have also Rogen Cronbach Lesser Utility Formula. Okay? So, for this one, gusto na for this Rogen Cronbach Lesser Utility Formula, gusto lang natin ma-identify kung gaano kalaki ang pera na ilalabas ng company para dun sa isang test. Okay, this is a federal one. So, here in the Philippines naman is wala namang gumagawa ng pagbibigay ng isang test na isang manual, isang applicant, isang manual, isang applicant. Okay, like ano, we here in the Philippines, kung hindi yan pinopotocopy yung iba, okay? Kasi nga because of the high cost of the test, so pwede kang gumamit ng Brogen Cronbach lesser utility formula para dyan. And para dito, may 5 ways daw kung paano gawin tong Brogen Cronbach lesser utility formula. Ano yun? Number one is number of employees hired per year. This number is easy to determine. It's simply the number of employees who are hired for given position in a year. Okay? So number two, average tenure. This is the average amount of time that the employees in the position tend to stay with the company. The number is computed by using information of the company records to identify the time that each employee in the position stayed in the company. The number of years or of tenure for each employee is then summed and divided by the total number of employees. Okay? And number three, test validity. This figure is the criterion validity coefficient that was obtained through either validity study or validity generalization. Okay, so ganun siya. Kung ang number one is titingnan mo kung gaano kadami ang employees na na-hired mo per year. Okay, so meaning to say, ito lang dapat yung test na manual na meron ako per year. Okay, kasi ito lang naman yung dami ng employees na hire ko per year. Number two, yung average ng tenure. This is the average amount of time that the employee in the position, nag-stay dun sa company. Okay? Alright? Di-divide mo siya sa number of hours and divided by number of employees. Tapos, si test validity is this figure is creating a validity coefficient that was obtained through either validity study or validity generalization. Okay? Number four, standard deviation. Okay? Okay, sinasabi lang dito na gaano ba yung dami or amount of salary ng isang employee. Okay, or salary ng isang employee per position. Okay, and ayun. Next, we have adverse impact. Looking at test result or anticipating adverse impact prior to the test. Okay, so we also have differential validity. Hindi natin siya elaborate kasi same siya with the adverse impact na sinasabi natin dun sa chapter number 3 sa previous lesson. Okay? We also have differential validity, determining the fairness of the test. Differential validity, sasabi dito na test is valid for two groups but more valid for one than for the other. Single group validity and differential validity are easily confused, but there is a big difference between the two. Okay? Sabi lang dito sa differential validity na kung ano yung difference ng validity ng test sa isa and validity ng test sa isa. Usually, hindi natin ito ginagawa here in the Philippines. It is more on US sa differential validity. Okay, halimbawa maraming type of test kang ipapa-administer before you hire an employee or kailangan mag-conduct ng ng test. Okay, tinitingnan dito yung single group validity and differential validity. Then, next is making hiring decision. We have multiple regression. Each test score weighted according to how well it predicts the criterion. Okay, so dito sa making the hiring decision, also regarding pa rin siya sa test, okay, sasabi lang dito sa multiple regression na sa multiple regression sasabi lang dito na kung gaano i-weight mo yung mga predictors ng criterion. Ano-ano yung mga predictors ng criterion? We have an adjusted top-down selection. With top-down selection, applicants are ranked, ordered on the basis of their test score. Selection is then made by starting with the highest score and then moving down until the openings have been filed. Okay, so kukuha ka sa mataas, sa pinakamataas na nakakuha ng exam or pinakamataas na nakakuha ng isang test na employee papunta sa pinakamababa. So, ang priority mo is yung top. Okay? Down, kaya siya tinawag na top-down selection. We have an adjusted top-down selection. With a top-down selection, applicants are ranked ordered on the basis of their test score. Selection is then made by starting with the highest score and moving down until all the openings have been filed. Example is a student applying for MA has low score in IOP but high average of GAP. Okay? Dito sa unadjusted top-down selection, ibig sabihin, halimbawa, yung sa application, nag-apply si applicant, hindi ganun kataas ang IOP niya, ang grade niya sa isang um, company. However, mataas naman yung GPA niya. So, ang gagawin mo is i-rank mo siya according doon sa GPA niya. Okay, halimbawa kung ang company, may ibang company kasi na ang hinahanap is mataas dapat ang GPA na kuhanin nila for selection of candidates. So ang gagawin ng company ay kukuha siya ng applicant kung saan ay number one sa pinakamataas sa top-down selection, um, kukunin yung pinakamataas na GPA tapos pinakamababa sa adjusted top-down selection kahit na mabab or ang goal niya is mataas ang GPA dapat na IOP pero mataas naman ang goal niya ng isang company ay mataas ang IOP grade. Okay? Gusto ko kumuha ng mga aplikante as HR. Kailangan ko ng mga 20 applicants na mataas sa IOP para um, makapag mapatakbo ko or ito yung goal ko sa isang company. Gusto ko yung mga magagaling sa IOP. However, sa unadjusted top-down selection, ito naman yung i-adjust niya. Ay, hindi nga mataas yung IOP niya na grade. However, siya naman may pinakamataas na GPA, so pwede na to. Okay, so kukunin ko na din siya. And we also have rule of 3. Sa rule of 3, pwede din itong maging rule of 5. Ito yung in which the names of the top 3 scorer are given to the person making the hiring decision. This score can then choose any of 3 based on the immediate needs of the employer. This method ensures that the person hired will be well qualified but provides more choice than those top-down selection. Halimbawa, sa rule of 3, these are the top 3 scorer na priority ko. Okay? So, dito ako pipili kasi ito yung example is police chief, HR director, okay? Tapos lagyan pa natin ng another dyan ng admin, okay? Halimbawa, nangangailangan ka ng um, isang company ng isang tao regarding sa kung ano natapos niya, okay? Not regarding, but regardless sa kung ano natapos niya, mag-hire ka pala. Mag-hire ka ng isang employee or bago yung company, tapos kukuha ka ng applicant. May nag-apply as HR director, may nag-apply as police chief, may nag-apply bilang isang admin assistant. Pero ang basis mo doon is not the position, okay? But also the score na nakuha nila dun sa test. Okay? Kukuha ka ng top 3 or top 5 or rule of 3 or rule of 5. Ito ngayon yung mga priority mo to select an applicant. Okay? So, itong mga matataas na to, okay? Ang gagawin mo ay reserve na to. Okay? So, halimbawa, pag nangailangan ang company namin ng HR director, okay, ang gagawin mo ay kukuha ka ng tao based on the score ng mga nag-apply. Okay? Itong mga matataas na to, ang mga nakapasa sa isang intelligence test na kinonduct ng isang company. So, kapag nangailangan to, mamimili siya dun sa tatlo. Okay? Or meron siya tatlong pagpipilian. Okay? Pwedeng tatlo, pwedeng lima. Kaya siya tinawag na rule of 3 or rule of 5. Alright? We also have passing score are means to reducing adverse impact and increasing flexibility. With this system, an organization determines the lowest score on a test that is associated with acceptable performance on the job. We have multiple cutoff and multiple hurdle approach. Okay? For passing score multiple cutoff or multiple hurdle approach, the applicants would administer all of the test at one time. Okay, if they failed any of the test or fell below the passing score, they would not be considered further for employment. Okay, kay multiple cut-off, ito yung kind of test na kung saan lahat ng test ibibigay mo kay employee. Okay, ano yung mga test na yun? Physical test, intelligence test, honesty test, integrity test, at kung ano-ano pang mga test na pwedeng or nare-require ng isang company kay employee. Yun si multiple cut-off. Kapag bumagsak siya sa mga test na yun, ang gagawin mo, hindi mo na siya i-continue for application. Hindi mo na siya i-hire. Okay? Doon ka ngayon magde-decide kung kailangan mo bang tanggapin si employee or hindi. Okay? Kay multiple hurdle approach naman, ito yung test na kung saan kapag may binagsak siyang isa, hindi mo na i-continue. Ano yun? Halimbawa, meron kang strength test, background check, psychological screen, medical check-up. Okay? If bumagsak si employee dito sa halimbawa, lahat ng employee or may 100 applicants ka. Halimbawa, ang type of work niya ay police officer. Sa police officer, kailangan makita kung malakas ba yung police na yon. Okay, halimbawa, lahat sila doon ay meron ka 100, in-administer mo yung test. Okay? So, 100 na yon, ilan ang tira? Meron ka na tira na may bumagsak na 10. Kaya siya naging 90. Tapos, in background checking pala, itong pulis na to is may criminal record. So, hindi mo na i-continue yung 10 or sa strength test ay may bumagsak na 10, hindi mo na i-continue yung 10 na yun para sa background checking. Kasi nga, ay once may mabagsak sila ditong isa, ang gagawin mo, hindi mo na i-hire yung applicant na yun. Okay? Bakit? Ay para, though, sasabi dito sa libro na kung mas commonly daw na ginagamit na test is yung multiple cut-off. Okay? Yung multiple cut-off is yung ibibigay mo lahat ng test kay employee pag may nabagsak siya, depende sa company kung ipapaulit niya or hindi na niya tatanggapin yung isang applicant. Okay, kay multiple harder approach naman, least expensive to. Kasi nga, once na hindi mo tinanggap si employee or halimbawa ay may nabagsak si employee na isang test, ay hindi mo na siya tatanggapin. We have banding. Banding attempts to hire the top test scorer while still allowing some flexibility for affirmative action. There is a cut there is cut off when doing standard deviation or ST. Okay, so kapag dito sa banding, kapag na-reach mo na yung standard deviation na gusto mo makuha doon sa employee or sa hiring promotion or kung doon man sa um, recruitment selection, kapag na-reach mo na yung standard deviation na gusto mo makuha doon sa employee, halimbawa, standard deviation mo ay gusto mo 0.70%, i-equal mo doon sa test score na nakuha ng employee ng mga employee na nakuha mo. Okay? Pwedeng individual to, pwedeng by group ng standard deviation. Yung um, tech, yung number of employees na gusto mong makuha. So, hindi na natin siya elaborate yung banding. Okay? Hindi tayo masyado magpo-focus dun sa um, in terms of exam ha, sa banding tsaka sa test score. Basta alam lang natin kung paano siya. Okay? Basta si banding, ang kailangan dito is mag-a-allow ka ng employee or magsiselect ka ng employee depending dun sa kinakailangan ng company ng standard deviation na nakuha nila sa test score. Okay, halimbawa, ang test score nila ay or ang standard deviation na kailangan ay 0.50, 0.70, something like that. Okay, so i-angkla mo ngayon yung nakuha nilang test score or isa-select mo yung employee na yun depende dun sa standard deviation na na-compute mo na kaya kailangan ng isang company. Okay, so it all depends on the selection technique na na gagamitin mo sa pag-hire ng employee.